Hey everyone. Throwaway account because, yeah, I don't want this tied to my main. Buckle up, this story is still blowing my mind, and I'm honestly just here to process and maybe get some advice. So, my 33M wife, 31F, let's call her Tina, and I have been married for 6 years. Together for 8. We have no kids, we've been talking about it for a while, but she always had excuses: work, stress, not feeling it yet. I didn't press her. I thought we had time. We were never perfect, but I thought we were solid. She's loud, opinionated, sarcastic, the type who always has to have the last word. I'm more laid back, not confrontational. We balanced each other, or so I thought. The first red flag? About 4 months ago, she suddenly got obsessed with grocery shopping. I know that sounds dumb, but hear me out. Before, she'd grown about going. Now, she was going like 3 times a week, dressed up like she was headed to brunch, not to buy eggs. I joked about it, said something like, "What, do they have live music in aisle 5 now?" She just rolled her eyes and said, "It's called taking care of myself. Maybe you should try it." Ouch. That was new. She'd always been snarky, sure, but lately it felt like everything I said irritated her. I started noticing she'd come home smiling at her phone, giggling at texts. I'd ask who it was, and she'd snap, "Just Stacy from work." That line became her shield. Just Stacy apparently had a lot of hilarious things to say. And apparently texted a lot at 11 p.m. I didn't want to be that guy paranoid and checking her phone, so I told myself I was imagining things. That it was in my head. I wish I had listened to my gut sooner. So, things kept getting weirder. Tina started dressing like she was auditioning for the Real Housewives of Kroger every time she ran errands. Heels. Makeup. Perfume. For the grocery store. I asked her once, "Who are you trying to impress? The cashier?" And she smirked and said, "Maybe I just want to feel good. Why don't you try looking decent sometime?" Nice, right? But here's the kicker: one Saturday I offered to go with her. Just casually said, "Hey, I'll come. We can grab snacks for the game after." She froze. Not even subtle. Just froze like a cartoon character caught mid-scam. Then she laughed, one of those fake, forced ones, and said, "Oh no, babe, I already promised Stacy I'd go with her. It's our thing now." Now I may be dumb, but I'm not that dumb. I said, "Cool. Take a selfie with Stacy, tell her I said hi." She didn't answer. Just grabbed her purse and left. No selfie, of course. And that's when the nagging voice in the back of my head turned into a full-blown siren. Something was up. A week later, she told me she had to make a late grocery run. Said Stacy needed last-minute stuff for a work brunch. It was 9 p.m. I followed her. I know. Not proud of it. But I needed to see something. She didn't go to our usual store. She drove to the smaller chain supermarket across town, one I've never seen her go to. Parked way out back. And then I saw her, stepping out of the car, checking her makeup in the mirror, pulling down her shirt a little. And then a security guard walked out of the store entrance. Tall guy. Tattoos. Buzz cut. Looked like he bench presses forklifts. He smiled when he saw her. They hugged. Not the friendly side hug kind of hug. The "I know what your body feels like" kind of hug. And they disappeared around the side of the store, near the loading dock. I sat in my car, heart pounding so hard I thought it would crack the windshield. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just stared out the windshield until she came back out 20 minutes later, hair messy, fixing her lipstick. That's when I knew. After seeing her hug that security guard and disappear behind the store, I sat in the car feeling like my whole body was buzzing, but not in a good way. My hands were shaking. My mouth was dry. I kept thinking, no, this isn't what it looks like. Maybe it's just some weird misunderstanding. I didn't sleep that night. Tina came home like nothing happened. She even brought back some eggs and a bottle of orange juice, like that somehow made it all okay. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed something solid. Something I couldn't gaslight myself out of believing. So the next morning, while she was in the shower, I checked her purse. Yes, I know it's invasive. I also know that if you think your spouse is cheating, you'll do anything to stop feeling insane. Inside, I found a crumpled receipt from the store she went to. On the back, there was a phone number scribbled in what was definitely not her handwriting, with a heart drawn around it. No name. Just the number. I took a photo of it and slipped it back where I found it. I couldn't help myself. I called the number from a burner app. A guy answered. "Yo, this Ty," he said. Bingo. I didn't speak. I hung up. So now I had a name. Ty. A security guard at that random store across town. And apparently Tina's late-night grocery buddy. I started connecting the dots. Her sudden interest in buying the groceries. Her attitude shifts. The extra effort in her appearance. The excuses. The mysterious late-night trips. The Stacy who I now suspected was a completely fabricated cover story. It wasn't paranoia. It wasn't insecurity. It was happening. The betrayal was real, and it was standing in aisle 7 with a fake smile and a club card. But I wasn't ready to blow up yet. No. I wanted to see just how deep this rabbit hole went. And I was going to dig until I hit the bottom. After confirming the number belonged to Ty, the security guard, I was officially in too deep to pretend everything was normal. But I didn't want to confront Tina until I had something undeniable. Something she couldn't twist or talk her way out of. So I did what any emotionally unstable but semi-resourceful husband would do. I set up a camera. We had an old nanny cam tucked away from when our nephew used to visit. It looks like a digital clock, totally inconspicuous. I placed it in our living room, aimed directly at the front door. She always claimed to go shopping late at night, around 9 or 10 p.m. So I set it up one Thursday evening when she said, "I'm running to the store. Don't wait up." Perfect. I waited. The footage would autosave to my phone. She left at 9:15. She came back at 11:40. 2 hours. For a grocery run that used to take 30 minutes. I waited until she was asleep. Then I reviewed the footage. What I saw made my stomach turn. At 11:37 p.m., she walked in the door. She was smiling. Her hair was messy. She was carrying only a single plastic bag with chips and toothpaste, two things we absolutely didn't need. But that wasn't the worst part. What wrecked me was the kiss. The quick, smug little kiss she gave someone outside the front door before stepping in. The camera didn't catch his face directly, just a tall silhouette leaning in. But from the uniform, the posture, and the height, I knew it was him. Ty. Mr. Security Guard. I watched it 3 times just to be sure I wasn't projecting. But no. It was real. The smirk. The casual wave. The body language like they'd done it 100 times before. She didn't even check if I was asleep. That broke me in a way the receipt hadn't. It was no longer speculation. My wife was cheating. Boldly. Repeatedly. And she thought I was too clueless to notice. But what she didn't know. I was done playing clueless. So, I waited until Saturday morning. She was sipping her coffee on the couch, scrolling through her phone like nothing happened, like she hadn't just made out with a rent-a-cop in front of our house 3 nights ago. I sat across from her, trying not to shake. "Tina, we need to talk." She didn't even look up. "Uh-oh, that sounds serious," she mumbled with a smirk. I said it as calmly as I could, "I know you're cheating on me." That got her attention. She set her mug down and gave me this wide-eyed innocent look like I'd just accused her of robbing a bank. "Excuse me?" I saw the camera footage. "You kissed that guy, the security guard." Ty. And just like that, the switch flipped. Her sweet girl act evaporated. She laughed. Laughed. Wow, so now you're spying on me? That's seriously messed up. You're cheating on me. I shot back. How is that the issue here? She scoffed and crossed her arms. You're being paranoid. That wasn't what it looked like. Really? Because it looked exactly like you kissing him outside our front door after being gone for 2 hours with a single bag of chips. And then came the gaslighting deluxe package. I was just being nice. He walked me to the car because it was dark. I didn't kiss him, he kissed me. You're being insecure again. This is why I don't tell you things. She spun it around like I was the one breaking trust. Not once did she apologize. Not once did she take responsibility. Instead, she made me feel like I was crazy for even asking. The final nail? She stood up, grabbed her keys, and said, I need space. You're suffocating me. Then she left. Again. No answers. No remorse. Just denial and deflection. And I sat there, trying to figure out how the hell my kind, funny wife had turned into a woman I didn't even recognize. The next 48 hours were a blur. I barely ate. Didn't sleep. Just sat with my thoughts, and let me tell you, they were loud. I kept replaying everything. Every errand. Every weird shift in her behavior. The sudden new interest in personal time. The shopping trips that took too long. Her new lingerie that wasn't for me apparently because I never saw it again after the tags came off. I decided I needed answers. Real ones. So, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went to the store. The one where Ty worked. I wasn't looking for a fight. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for. But as fate would have it, he was there. Standing by the sliding doors like some smug, underpaid guardian of granola bars. I walked up. He looked at me. Paused. Then smirked, that same goddamn smirk I saw on the footage. Can I help you? He said like he already knew why I was there. I said, you know who I am. He shrugged. Depends. I'm her husband. Tina's husband. His face dropped. For like half a second. Then? Back to that smugness. Look, man. I didn't know she was married. She told me she was single. Said you were her crazy ex who wouldn't move out. I felt my blood run cold. She said what? Yeah. Said you were always jealous and she needed a real man who treated her right. He gave me a pitying look. Sorry, dude. I didn't mean to get in the middle of anything. Middle of what? A web of lies? I turned around and left. I couldn't even be mad at the guy. He didn't know. But she did. She lied. Over and over. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just a mistake. This wasn't a lapse in judgment. It was a betrayal built on layer after layer of manipulation. I drove home in silence. Nothing on the radio. Just me and the sound of my world falling apart. So yeah. I confronted Ty. He didn't know she was married. I believed him, or at least I wanted to, because the alternative meant I was being mocked behind my back by two people who treated my life like a game. But when I got home that night, Tina was waiting. Not like, sad and apologetic waiting. No. She was angry. Like I had somehow crossed her boundaries. I heard you showed up at my work, she snapped before I even got my shoes off. Your boyfriend's work, you mean? I shot back. That's when she exploded. You're harassing people now? Jesus, what is wrong with you? I laughed. I couldn't help it. The gaslighting was so absurd, it felt like I was in a bad Netflix drama. You lied to him. Told him I was your crazy ex. Do you even hear yourself? She didn't deny it. just stormed into the kitchen, muttering, "You're pathetic." And then, no joke, she called the cops on me. I heard her on the phone telling dispatch that I was unstable, that I had threatened her, and that she feared for her safety. Me. The guy who never raised his voice at her in 8 years of marriage. The guy who made her coffee every morning and folded her damn laundry. When the officers showed up, they were calm and professional, but the whole thing was humiliating. They asked if I had any weapons. I told them no, just a broken heart and a mortgage. After I explained what happened and showed them some of the screenshots and the footage I still had saved, one of the officers looked at her and said, "Ma'am, I think this is a domestic dispute, but not a criminal one." They left. She went to the bedroom and slammed the door. And I sat on the living room floor and stared at the wall for hours. That night, something in me snapped. I wasn't going to let her lie, cheat, and then try to paint me as the villain. After the cops left and I spent that miserable night on the floor, something in me hardened. I wasn't the one who cheated. I wasn't the liar. I wasn't the manipulator. But if I kept letting her control the narrative, people would believe I was. So the next morning, I made 2 calls, one to a lawyer, and one to my buddy Jake, who works in IT and owes me big time for covering for him during a workplace mess a few years back. Let me tell you, getting access to deleted files and digging into someone's digital footprint is like opening a cursed treasure chest. You want answers, but what you find can burn you from the inside out. Turns out, Tina wasn't just cheating with Ty. She had multiple conversations with other guys. DMs, emails, and even voice notes. Some of them were long-distance flings, video calls while I was away on work trips. Others were local hookups. She had a separate email. A hidden folder of photos. She used errands and gym time as excuses, but she wasn't even working out, she was just getting worked over. I felt sick. My stomach dropped every time I saw another flirty message or "can't wait to see you again" face blowing a kiss text sent while I was at home making dinner for us. It was a whole double life. A fantasy world where she wasn't a wife and mother, but this flirty, unattached woman living like she was in her early 20s. I printed everything. All of it. When I handed it to the lawyer, he looked through the folder, then up at me and said, "You ready to end this?" I didn't even hesitate. Yes. Because I'd spent so long questioning my worth, my sanity, and my place in my own marriage. But now I had proof. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't the bad guy. She was. Alright, so the day came. I had everything lined up, the evidence, the lawyer, the paperwork. All I had to do now was hand it off to the process server. I told him to deliver the papers to her at the store where she worked. Petty? Maybe. But after the humiliation, gaslighting, and full-on betrayal, I figured she could deal with a little public discomfort. And boy, did she melt down. I wasn't there, obviously, but one of her co-workers, who's friendly with me and had no idea what Tina was up to, told me it was chaos. Apparently she threw the papers at the wall, screamed at the server, and started sobbing right there in front of customers. Then, get this, she called me and had the audacity to say, "So you're just gonna give up? After everything?" Yes, Tina. After everything. That's exactly why I'm giving up. She didn't cry because she was sorry. She cried because she lost control. Her web of lies unraveled faster than she could spin new ones. She went from manipulative to pathetic in seconds flat, calling me every hour that day, sending paragraphs about how I was overreacting, how it was never serious with Ty, and he meant nothing. You know the line that really hit me? I was lonely. You were too stable. What the hell does that even mean? Since when is stability a flaw? Since when is loyalty a reason to stray? She begged for a sit-down. I agreed. Not because I was considering changing my mind, but because I wanted to look her in the eye and see if there was even a single ounce of remorse. Spoiler, there wasn't. She tried to flip it, said I emotionally neglected her, that I checked out first, and that maybe this whole thing is partially your fault too. Classic narcissist spin. I kept it calm. I let her talk. And then I slid the folder of evidence across the table. Screenshots. Messages. Voicemails. Her face turned white. "You don't get to twist this," I said. "You don't get to make me feel crazy anymore." That was the first moment I felt free. One more part left. The final chapter, how I picked myself up and what I've learned through this nightmare. Stay tuned. So this is it, the last chapter of the most painful, surreal, and ultimately enlightening experience of my life. The divorce went through a few weeks after that final sit-down. No contest. She didn't fight it. I think she knew it was over. I walked away with my dignity, a fresh start, and most importantly, peace of mind. Something I hadn't truly felt in years. The apartment feels a little empty sometimes, not gonna lie. The silence can be deafening after the noise of a toxic relationship. But I'm learning to love that silence. It's honest. It's mine. I've picked up old hobbies again, fishing, ironically, cooking for one, playing guitar badly. I've started therapy, and I highly recommend it to anyone going through something like this. It helped me untangle a lot of the guilt and confusion she dumped on me over the years. As for Tina? She moved in with Ty, the security guard. Yep. The same guy she swore was just a friend. I heard through the grapevine they're already having issues. Honestly, I don't care. Let her live in the mess she created. Here's what I've learned. If your gut is screaming, listen. You're not crazy. You're not insecure. You're aware. Cheaters lie, and they lie well. Don't wait for a confession, the truth almost always shows itself in time. You can love someone and still leave them. Staying isn't strength. Walking away from someone who disrespects you, that's real strength. Healing isn't linear. You'll feel better one day and wrecked the next. That's normal. Keep going. Never lose yourself in someone else's chaos. You are worth more than someone's backup plan. If you're reading this and going through something similar, I see you. I've been you. And I promise, there is life after betrayal. A better one. A freer one. Thanks for sticking with me through this series. I never thought sharing my story online would help this much, but it truly did. You all helped me feel less alone in the middle of the worst storm of my life. I'm gonna be okay. And so will you.